Hello everybody, so as you can clearly see from the title and, well, everything about this video, yes, I finally watched the Netflix show about Freud. And I was not expecting it to be as insane as it was. It went off the walls very quickly and a lot more magical than anybody really should do for a show about Freud. And something that I should get right out of the gate is that the show almost knows what it wants to be, but sometimes it doesn't. It's not a show about the real-life Sigmund Freud where they do a biopic style show where they show you the bad, the good, the things that he did for psychology, other things like that, his personal life. It's definitely not about that. It's closer to a very heavy fan fiction about a completely fictional Freud where there's a lot of exaggerated things about hypnosis, and Freud is a really good boy and he does good boy things. This is a show made by somebody that thinks people that study psychology can read your mind. And I only say this because in this show there is a character that can read your mind. This is not an exaggeration for a joke, I'm just stating what happens. Like, this show really becomes off the wall. So this review is more about showing you or explaining to you how off the walls it really gets, and explaining also that that's why it was fun. But one of the things you had to get across your own head, at least I had to, is the fact that yes, this show is called Freud, but in no way is it about the real life Sigmund Freud. Real life Sigmund Freud was somebody very much from his own times saying that yes, women are inferior to men. Now, that is not surprising for people born in the late 1800s or whatever, but this sentence I thought it was funny, so I'm gonna include it. Girls hold their mother responsible for their lack of penis. That's a thing that he said. So yes, that is the type of caliber of person that he was. Again, very appropriate for his time. Also, Freud was a person that was very into the Oedipus complex. You know, the complex that has you saying that people just want to bang their moms. And when you go around telling everybody else that they want to bang their mom, you might start thinking that this person saying that wants to bang theirs. And yes, he probably did. Now, this is the real life Freud, okay? But show Freud, he's nothing like that. He's a good boy. Okay, he does want to bang his mom, but we'll get to that. He's a really good boy. He's honorable to women. He respects them. He really cares about his patients. He definitely does nothing wrong. He has a coke addiction, but it's fine. It's not that much of a problem really for him because he's such a good boy. This show about fictional Freud is about him solving crimes with the police through the power of deduction and hypnosis.
Dr. Schönfeld stand unter Hypnose.
Sie hätten ihn sehen müssen. Die Augen, die Bewegungen. Ich bin mir sicher. Somnambul, dabei aber zielgerichtet und bewusst.
This is not about Freud and really should not be called Freud. But without that name, it's just a fairly competent show with a very good score, which was standing out way too much because of how good it really was. And the show was fine, but it wasn't good as that score. But without Freud, this is just a show like The Alienist and Penny Dreadful fused together. So I guess choosing the fact that it was about Freud was the right marketing gimmick. Because the fact that it's Freud makes the fact that it goes so far off into the ridiculous realm, and trust me, they go real far, a lot more entertaining. Like, Freud in this is such a good boy that he is always helping his patients. He sacrifices his medical license in this just to help somebody out. He's constantly being vulnerable. He helps damsels in distress. He also saves the Emperor of Austria with a straight up magic sentence that prevents the Emperor from being killed. Not only that, but he also heals the Emperor's son from a blood thirst given to him through hypnosis. And also, no, that is not the most ridiculous thing I'm gonna say in this review. The hypnosis in the show is completely over-exaggerated to a point of absurdity. People in the show are hypnotizing each other left and right to a point that you don't know who is left that is not a puppet. Somebody hypnotizes another person by simply touching their hand.
Kommen Sie gut nach Hause, Gräfin.
They're just like, you're hypnotized. It's your fault. You shouldn't have touched me. You shouldn't have touched me. You did this, not me. It's such an over-exaggeration of hypnosis that this show becomes about Freud having essentially psychic battles with a witch. And yes, this is a sentence I can say out loud and feel comfortable that I'm portraying the show correctly. Freud is having hypnotic battles with a witch for the heart of Austria. Does this sound like fanfiction yet? Because it basically is. Fairly competent and expensive fanfiction. Also, the hypnosis in the show is completely inconsistent. Yes, I explained that they are over the top and overly exaggerated, but also they are sometimes very useful and can get people to do exactly what you want, and sometimes they just don't do what you tell them to do after they get hypnotized. Because that would have not been convenient. Because if it were consistent, Freud would have killed himself when he was hypnotized to do so. But then again, Freud is a really good boy, and losing him would have been a mistake. And also we couldn't get to the more ridiculous part of the show, so I am glad it's not consistent. Yes, it's very convenient, but who cares? Maybe it wasn't convenient that saved him. Maybe it was his addiction to cocaine that got him out of his hypnotic state. I can say that. He was essentially saved by taking a lethal amount of cocaine. Truly a miracle drug. And when I said that I was not into the ridiculous part of the show yet, get ready. This is where it gets, you're not gonna believe me. You really won't. So in this show, Freud fucks his patient, which if you look into his more controversial things and how he was very close and he constantly brought up the fact that yes, patients will develop sexual interest in you because, you know, you're just an irresistible god and you're just a doctor, so everybody wants to fuck you. Having him fuck his patient in a show about Freud where he's the good boy is just bizarre. He does that twice, but it's just because he wants to see that he really shouldn't have done that and it's the wrong thing to do and he shouldn't do it. It's bad. But also, after this, we have what are blood rituals, seances, a child mummy, and other occulty things like that being brought to light. And they seem to get results when they are done. Also, there is a ghost. Just a straight up ghost. Not the visions of people delving into insanity. No. Just a ghost. Two people see that ghost with no previous knowledge of what that ghost should look like, and he's just there. So yes, it's a ghost. And when I say that Freud is solving crimes with hypnosis, he doesn't use psychology because that would be lame. Why would he, try to find motivations, understand the background, understand the context, understanding other things like that could give him a glimpse into somebody's mind? No, that's lame. He just uses hypnosis all the time. The show only knows one thing, and it uses it constantly, all the time. Freud wasn't even that into hypnosis. It's not even in his body of work, but again, this is just fictitious, and it doesn't matter, so whatever. And after the ghost, we have the hypnosis that is overly exaggerated stop being overly exaggerated and become straight up magic. So this show just has an X X-Men, essentially acting like Professor X, where she can just do whatever the fuck she wants. And this character not only can freeze people in place, no, that would not be enough. She is an epileptic woman that is able to see into the deepest, darkest desires of individuals. Not only being able to do that, no, it's not intuition. She's able to see what they want to do, who they want to do it to, how they're gonna do it, and where they're gonna do it. She can read minds. That's what I'm trying to say. She can read the minds of other people. I'm telling you, this is an X-Men show that was just swapped into Freud for some reason. It's truly bizarre. Here's where we get interesting. This epileptic woman that has visions of people's desires and can read minds and freeze people in place, at one point becomes a dissociative identity disorder demon.
Fertig, Herr Doktor.
What does that mean? Well, it's basically this. She has multiple personalities, only two, so it's, it's believable that way. It makes sense. Where one of her personalities just happened to be a demon. And this demon can just make people kill each other or themselves.
Ich wähle einen Soldaten aus. Tötet die anderen. Sie alle.
And also freeze people in place, just like the epileptic woman that can read people's minds. And also has dissociative identity disorder. She basically has everything. She's like a nice little gift in a box. This show becomes so ridiculous to a point where my brain started making such a ridiculous plot and it became dangerously probable. So at a point, I thought it was believable that they were gonna bring baby Hitler into the show and give the bloodlust demon from the dissociative identity disorder woman to baby Hitler, causing him to want to kill people.
Im kommenden Jahrhundert wird die Macht in den Händen derer liegen, die sich auf Suggestion verstehen. Die Menschen beeinflussen und manipulieren können.
Heil. Heil. Heil.
This is a thing that crossed my mind while watching the show because it had gone completely insane. And it was amazing. Freud is out of his mind on coke or being hypnotized. The show can't decide because it doubles down on the fact that yes, this woman that has a demon in her is indeed magic, but also it tries to cop out on the magic when it tries to say that Freud ideas towards science were indeed worthy of being scientific, but he's having psychic battles with a witch and saving a woman from a demon. As I said, the show doesn't seem to know what it wants, or it just wants to be vague enough, just a little tad vague, for the people that truly believe that psychology equals people that can read your mind will love the show. And if you're not one of those people, you can watch the show knowing that this is just a bunch of nonsense, fairly well done, but nonsense nonetheless because it is about Freud and it's just a crazy fan fiction with magic. But hey, it's still very entertaining to watch. And I know what we all have been wondering. Yes, he does bang his own mom.
Mach weiter. Mein Sohn. Liebster, mach.
Sure, it's in a dream sequence, but still, it's nice. It's very nice. But basically, what I wanted to get across in this review is just giving you examples of all of the crazy shit that they pull, and I don't think I have covered enough to just give you an idea of how constant this nonsense is, that I feel comfortable telling you that you should watch the show just to be entertained, to see how far they go and how consistently they go further and further, and when you can't think of anything crazier, they do so. They pull a nice, hey, he burnt all of the proof of the psychic demon lady. So, it could have happened. It may be true, So the people that think psychology is magic, maybe it is. Who knows?